this country. So when we look at three areas where AI will make an impact, it's to improve the efficiency of us as doctors. How can we provide more precision care to our patients? And then from a hospital perspective, how can we scale it up so that this is not just in small clinics, small hospitals, but virtually throughout the country. So that is the concept. So let's just look at it one step at a time and talk about how this can impact us or show it in this. The first is to look that this is not just all of us talking about this. This is the same concept and similar conclaves being held in the US. You can see the amount of investment of AI in healthcare in the US. By 2030, it's projected that close to $200 billion will be invested in the field of AI in healthcare. If you look at the same concept in India, the same projections are holding true, which means that this is supposed to increase at a rate of close to 50% over the next decade or so. So the concept globally, it's not just in the US or in India, is how we can improve and have this function of AI in healthcare moving it forward. So if we look at some of these different areas, 6% global AI adoption rate in healthcare. So the number is still very small. This needs to increase as we move forward. In the US, it's twice the global average. So about 1 in 20 hospitals has started incorporating AI in their day-to-day practices. And of course, when you look at the amount of investment in healthcare, 85% of the different entrepreneurs, as we heard from the Honorable Chief Minister, are planning on doing some sort of investment of AI in healthcare. So it is a huge field which is ready for it. So let me leave you with a few use cases for all the entrepreneurs which are in the room of what we are looking at. The four major areas where I've broken this down into is improved diagnostics, workflow optimization, providing personalized treatment to our patients, and fourth, which I think is the most important, is remote patient monitoring and preventative care and how we can do it in this way. So let's look at some of these concepts about improved diagnostics, whether it is for skin conditions, CTs, MRIs, which are being used, mammography, or for colon cancer detection, AI or computer vision is being utilized. I'll just share this video of how AI for breast cancer detection, early detection with mammography can be done. Physicians are there, doctors are looking at x-rays and mammograms, but for a huge population, you can miss it. So how can that be automated in a way that the machine gives you the calcification score on a mammogram, and it can look at millions of scans and alert the radiologist to the most important areas, so that that's the place where this can happen. I was talking to the Principal Secretary about similar cervical cancer screening, oral cancer screening that the government of Andhra has undertaken right now to do it. For workflow optimization, whether it's scheduling of patients, whether it is AI-assisted documentation of the notes, because most of the doctor's handwriting nobody can understand, so it's important that it's very legible and clear. For surveillance prediction, as well as administration and compliance, I think AI and automation can easily be done, and this is important and is available. These chatbots can be there. As doctors in India, everybody gets these phone calls. Why can't we automate this process in which anybody from rural Andhra can get on their smartphone and fix an appointment with the specialist that they want? Here, I'm talking about the social security number in the US, but it can be the Aadhaar card number, so that you know that you're talking about the right patient for the right diagnosis with the right doctor who is there, and saying that this is the appointment which is available, are you willing to take that, so that the patient does not have to be on the phone for half an hour with some scheduling who does not know as to what the next step in this is. Personalized treatments. This is a company in the US in which they have their own signature, genetic signature, for all the cancers which are listed there. And based on that genetic signature, it can predict which patient will respond to which type of therapy, with degree of accuracy. So this is the personalized care that we can provide rather than doing the same chemotherapy for every patient with cervical cancer. It should be individualized because all of us are very different in our genetic makeup, and this is available right now. Finally, I think what is critical is this type of AI-driven remote care. So the doctor does not have to be there in front of the patient all the time. With smartphones, with iPads, computers, this can happen remotely. The patient's weight can be checked, the blood pressure can be checked by instructions which are given by the computer to the patient remotely from thousands of kilometers away. And the diagnosis can be made remotely so that you're saving time for the patient who cannot travel hundreds of kilometers in a bus and does not have access to specialists in very remote areas. So this can be done very remotely and is available right now for us to be able to implement in all of these areas. So AI-driven remote healthcare is also available. Finally, all of us have all these technologies which are wearable technologies. There are small sensors which you can wear, and the amount of sweat going into that sensor can predict whether you are due for a flare of your inflammatory bowel disease, or whether your blood glucose is going to be higher in the next 6 hours or not. So we have this whole IoTs which are available, which should be linked with healthcare right now. And of course, this will have a major impact on efficiency and cost savings. It will generate more revenue, just as we heard, rather than cost more in the short run, but it will be revenue growth. And finally, we have to keep the patient at the center of all of this. This is not about us as doctors or about you as entrepreneurs. This is all about providing for the patient who is at the center of this. Having said this, as compared to agriculture, energy, etc., this is a very sensitive issue. AI can hallucinate. AI may not be accurate, but we are dealing with lives of patients, so this has to be tested, retested, validated before we release this as compared to the other sectors of the government. So we have to be absolutely sure that the AI technology is working for our patient before we implement it as compared to the other areas which are there. The other area where I think the government of Andhra Pradesh can work together with the other healthcare sectors is by regulation. In the US, there is zero regulation on AI and healthcare. We don't have a policy at all, and we are lost. Europe is ahead of us. And you can see where India stands in this, but it's all state-driven. And I think if we have good regulation and policy in Andhra, I think it will help just promote all of this and take it to the next level. So here's what we heard again all day today is building this AI ecosystem which is there. And I'm delighted that Dr. Rakesh, AIG, and others are working on this consortium because this is the way forward for all of us to take AI into the next level. To summarize, AI, we know in healthcare is the future. We should embrace it. Let's not fight it, let's embrace it. It's not without challenges, specifically things like data security for healthcare. Patient privacy is a big issue. So we want to make sure that when all stakeholders align, we can conquer it very easily. And the healthcare, the future is extremely bright and promising, provided we channel it in the right way. So again, on behalf of all of you, thank you very much for having me. And again, my pleasure to be here with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pratik. I think that's the background what he has given the global perspective of AI in healthcare. Can I just have the slides? So on this note, what with the guidance and the thought process from Honorable CM, we started this foundation called AIM. It stands for Alliance for Artificial Intelligence and MedTech, and we have got 4 stakeholders in this currently working on the AIG hospitals from Hyderabad and ISB Hyderabad, then we have IIIT Hyderabad and the AMTZ from Visakhapatnam. The main aim of this is to have a platform where anybody can come and pitch in, where we have the technology enabling from these IITs and IIMs and IIITs. And then the business thought process will come from the ISB, and we as validators for the clinical knowledge, and then we have the volume. So we will be doing the validation of the ideas and thought process in terms of technology. And with the very own MTZ here in Visakhapatnam, they will go with the idea, and then we come out with a product. That's a thought process. And on this note, in fact, the government of Andhra Pradesh, I have seen pan-India, most of the EMR and EHR data, and I think the best state as of now in terms of data capture is government of Andhra Pradesh. We have to give a big round of applause to all the bureaucrats, officers, and the government of Andhra Pradesh. And on that note, we started working on this, and with this consortium being formed, the first thing what we have done is we started a mother and child healthcare app to be developed after understanding the ecosystem. So can I have that slide? What's happening is we have the robust ecosystem, but there is some missing link in between the ANMs, ASHAs, and the command control. So on that note, we just started working on an app called Janani Mitra app. It's a purely app based for mothers. It's not for any of the other ANM or ASHAs. And what we have done is we have gone to a mandal called Kuder in Anantapur district, and then we rolled out this app. And can I just have the slides of that so that we'll just show in brief in 2 minutes without wasting much time what is being done. Okay, so I think they're playing the slides after my talk anyway, no problem. So that is what the flywheel, what we have invented, and these are the initiatives what government of Andhra Pradesh already have on robust maternal and postpartum healthcare and so on and so forth captured. And the only challenges is, as I told you, the missing link between the mother as the end user versus the other paraphernalia. So on this note, the app, what we have done, can you just show? So this is the app called the Janani Mitra app, which is a smart companion to the mother, where you have some SOS alerts also. The beauty of this app is that it's got a food scanner. Can you just show that, the next slide? So where the mother will scan the food and then understand how many calories she's consuming. In fact, on this I'll tell you, there's one person in this audience who knows better about nutrition and technology than any one of us. It's none other than Honorable Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. I, being his personal physician, I know he has his own data, entire data monitored by a team, and it's robustly captured, where he has got a sleep score, nutrition data, everything in one. And every minute it is captured and it is analyzed about the metabolic score. So on that note, this is the app, and I'll just give you a brief of what we have done. I'll ask my CTO Kinjal Saxena to just run the video and show you in 1 minute how this app is going to do a paradigm shift for mother care. In the state of Andhra Pradesh. Kinjal, can you just show them the app?
Thank you, Dr. Rakesh. Honorable Minister, all the respected delegates. What we are trying to do is, we are trying to leverage technology, artificial intelligence, to simplify the life of mothers. What we have done is, this app will help all the mothers in all the trimesters through the entire journey of their pregnancy, whether it is health monitoring, medication monitoring, investigation, diagnostics, connecting them to ASHAs and ANMs, as well as the diet care and other government access benefits and tracking them. So what do we do here is this is the food scanner. As you can see, they can just take the picture of the thali and it will give them the calorie counts. It will also tell them if they are taking the picture of a thali which is not adequate for them, it will actually monitor and tell them that this is high risk, they should eat more, they should eat better nutrition. So this is artificial intelligence embedded in the app itself. The most important part is this is not a mobile app that you need to download from Google Store or App Store, because in the villages there is not enough network. So what we have done is we have created a very simple progressive web app that they can simply open with the click of a button. So they don't need to do, and this actually works. So what you're seeing is something happening in the villages and with a much better speed compared to any other mobile app. What we are next seeing is next level of AI technology, where just by taking the picture of their eye, their tongue and their nails, an early detection of anemia can be identified, and whenever an anemic mother is identified, an alert will go to the respective ASHA and ANMs. The next, another challenge is, the other challenge is actually tracking whether the services have been provided to the mothers or not. And this is where the tracking, taking pictures and geo-tracking comes in. When the ASHA meets the mother, ASHA goes to the mother actually goes to an ultrasound facility. All of this can be tracked with the data and it can all be provided.
Thank you, Kinshal. That's in brief about. We are going to roll it to the entire state of Andhra Pradesh soon with this Udair as the start point. And I would like to thank GFST Takkar Garu and Honorable CM Garu and all the dignitaries for giving this the opportunity. And we are happy to work with this as a consortium in the future. And then whatever best we can do in enabling technology, we will do. And then I again thank all of you for giving us the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Pratik and Dr. Rajesh. AIG will be executing an MOU in the afternoon during the health tech session. Now it is my pleasure to invite Chintalapati Srinivasa Raju Garu, who is popularly known as Srini Raju, a serial entrepreneur and a private equity investor, to give his address. Can I request Srini Raju Garu if he is in the auditorium? Okay. Then we will move on to the main panel discussions. The first session is on deep tech, which is positioning Andhra Pradesh as a global leader in innovation and disruption. Before the session begins, we have kept a keynote address by Mr. Rajesh Dudu, who is partner, Emerging Tech, PwC. Rajesh Dudu is a seasoned professional with over 25 years of experience in telecom, banking and cyber security. He is an expert of blockchain and cyber security practices at PwC as partner. He was also driving innovation and digital transformation at TechM as top management leader. He is a global name in the deep tech and has great reputation in deep tech world. So what GFST requested Mr. Rajesh to speak on, the Chief Minister's favorite theme, one family, one entrepreneur, a vision for 2030. So I will not get into the bullet points. I give it to Rajesh to deliver his keynote address.
Respected and Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable dignitaries, colleagues from the industry and students, Sabaku Namaskaram. I must confess that after the address by Honorable Chief Minister, one gets a little flustered because we just witnessed one of the best masterclass in technology. After that masterclass in technology, it becomes little difficult to assemble our thoughts. So I'll try to do my best. It's actually an absolute honor and privilege for me to speak against the team, or with respect to the team, which is one family and one entrepreneur. Vision 2030. We have heard from Honorable Chief Minister how the global technology companies have benefited from Andhra engineers. With the launch of this program, I'm sure that there will not only be Andhra tech engineers in Bay Area, but there will be a lot of unicorns and sunicorns in Andhra Pradesh, and it is bound to happen. This particular program looks at about outlay of 30 lakh crore investment and looking at an FDI of about USD $10 billion. I wanted to say two things. One, with this program, we will see that there won't be a difference between a Bay Area entrepreneur and an entrepreneur from this region. We are already seeing in India, when you come across an Indian entrepreneur, especially the tech entrepreneur, and you talk to a Bay Area entrepreneur, there is no difference in capability. Of course, many of them are Telugus, so that will also contribute to the familiarity and similarity. But going forward, with the advent of this program, I think many such entrepreneurs will come from this particular region. And from a PwC perspective, we are willing to contribute. Sir had said that most of the programs are pro bono. So from PwC, we are willing to contribute because we are people who care. And for me, the contribution comes from a son-in-law of the soil attitude because my in-laws are from this particular region. So it's only important that I stay invested here. A lot of people have asked in terms of what deep tech does. Deep tech actually comes into a play when you're looking at solving some deep problems that are entrenched in the society today. I'm going to pick up 3 such particular problems and explain to you how deep tech contributes. The first one, in the area of healthcare, it's only opportunistic that I pick up the healthcare one after the session by the prominent doctors from AIG. Today in healthcare, you can use light to diagnose a number of diseases. For instance, for a long time, diabetics have suffered through invasive treatment. That means they have to put syringes and diagnose in terms of what is the magnitude of sugar that they carry in their bloodstream. But today, using photoluminescence, you're able to diagnose the level of diabetes that is there. That is deep tech. And in this country, we have seen a lot of things happening in the financial services space. But there are 2 things which again remain unaddressed. The first one is in the area of direct benefit transfer, DBT, where we know by virtue of DBT, the money is going into the farmer's account directly. But it is only 80% of the problem that has been addressed. What is the 20% of the problem? How do you ensure that those farmers do not misutilize the benefits for spends other than farm equipment, for anything other than farm improvement? So there comes a deep tech concept using blockchain, which is called a central bank digital currency. And using central bank digital currency, you can bring in programmability of rupee. The rupee will be programmed in such a sense that if it goes to a grocery shop, it will be auto-declined. If it goes to a liquor shop, it will be auto-declined, and it will be accepted only in the areas which are contributing to that particular farmer's benefit with regards to his or her farm. The second one, interestingly, it is called as deep tier discounting. Many of us know in the trade finance area, the suppliers take their invoices and get them discounted with the banks. So let me give you an example. Here is an example of a computer supplier. The computer supplier has supplied equipment to an enterprise, and the supplier is getting the invoice discounted. Now, that particular computer supplier is taking parts, for example, mouse from a SMB supplier, from a small and medium enterprise customer. Now, that particular person, unfortunately, do not have access to the trade finance discount. That is going to change by bringing in what we call as deep tiered discounting, again using the transformative potential of blockchain, where the entire chain of suppliers are going to come on the network along with the banker. So the person in the downstream at the last mile who has supplied the mouse will also get his invoice discounted. What is it going to do? That particular person who is henceforth, has been utilizing finance at 18% interest rate now will get an access to a 9% interest rate from the banks. So this is how the deep tech is going to contribute. And these are not only in the areas of finance and healthcare, as Honorable Chief Minister had said. It is there in supply chain, it is there in InsurTech, it is there in GovTech, RegTech, AgTech. Any technology that you take, there's an opportunity for improvement. I had a good fortune of working with NEOM, the people who are building the futuristic society in Saudi Arabia. When I was working with them, I was introduced to another concept called cognitive technology. Today, we are talking about WhatsApp governance. We are talking about services being available in an app perspective. But everything has to be initiated by us. So here comes cognitive technology, which sits at the interface of application without your express consent. Once you define the algorithm and the logic, it is going to do work like Aladdin Genie, that everybody has access to an Aladdin Genie in their application. And to realize the grand vision of Viksit Bharat, it is quite essential that the vision of Swarna Andhra Pradesh has to be realized. And it is essential that we use all these technologies. Is there any other method of doing it? No, there is no other method of doing it. So we have to use this. If these opportunities does not resonate with you, there's one more area where the entrepreneurs can invest, and that is in the area of cybersecurity. I was reading an interesting article. It said while X number of people are trying to learn how to use ChatGPT, 3X are learning how to trick it. So there are more people who are trying to trick the technology. That's where cybersecurity comes to the fore. Sir, we have been the beneficiaries of government to citizen services, but there's an interesting personal experience that I would like to share. I got married in 2002. Post the marriage, I started getting to-do lists from my wife. I thought the to-do lists were only in the office, but my wife started giving me the to-do lists. What were the to-do lists? Pay electricity bill, pay utility bill, pay that bill and this bill. I used to hate that because the lines were huge until I got introduced to eSeva. Once I got introduced to eSeva, which was implemented under your grand vision, my to-do list became very, very short. And I used to go and ask my wife, give me more activities to do. So while it has contributed to the government to citizen governance, in my case, sir, it has contributed to marital bliss. And since it has contributed to the marital bliss, it's only important that I stay invested with all your initiatives so my marital bliss will continue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajesh. Now we move on to the Deep Tech panel discussion. Before I invite the panelists, I have a couple of announcements. One, realizing the time constraints, I request the moderators and speakers, panelists to cut down their time as per the available listing, not sticking to the original schedule. Second thing is, for the audience, you also have to sacrifice a couple of things. We have taken out your tea break and lunch break also will be reduced because we have invited so many experts from across the country and they have a lot to share. So you have to bear with that. Before I invite the speakers, we have a very short film on deep tech session. Can we have the film, please?
Reality, paving. Deep tech isn't just shaping the future, it's redefining what's possible. In Andhra Pradesh, this vision is becoming a reality, paving the way for a tech-driven tomorrow. Success speaks for itself. In Andhra Pradesh, IoT-enabled smart farms have increased yields by 15% while cutting water usage by 18%. Mobile health clinics powered by AI diagnostics have reduced patient travel times by 20%, delivering care to over 100,000 underserved citizens. And MSME digital transformation programs have boosted revenues by 40% for participating businesses. With a bold vision to become India's deep tech capital by 2047, Andhra Pradesh is harnessing AI, IoT, and blockchain to transform industries and bridge gaps. By 2030, the state aims to create one entrepreneur per family and empower MSMEs with blockchain-enabled loans and AI tools, driving 2 million new jobs. Guided by the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047, the deep tech initiatives focus on sustainability, equity, and resilience. From predictive analytics reducing disease outbreaks to AI-driven compliance tools simplifying MSME operations, Andhra Pradesh is setting benchmarks for innovation. This is more than innovation, it's transformation. Join Andhra Pradesh in leading the deep tech revolution. Together, let's build Swarna Andhra and realize the dream of Viksit Bharat 2047.
Let me invite the panelists. Mr. Rajiv Gupta, President, PB FinTech, known as Policy Bazaar. Give a big round of applause to the panelists as I invite them. Mr. Bala Prasad Peddigari, Chief Innovation Officer, Tata Consultancy Services. Mr. Varun Muniyal, Senior Solution Architect, Strategic Government, NVIDIA. Mr. Abhinav Gupta, Associate Vice President, Innovation, Broadridge, India. And finally, I invite the moderator for this session, Mr. Sridhar Sheshadri. I am not introducing their profiles. They are very popular. You can just Google or LinkedIn. Their details are available. Over to Sridhar.
Excuse us for 2 minutes. There's a little change in format. We actually wanted to have Sivan Garu on the panel because then that's where a lot of ideas are shared. Probably we'll keep the Q&A at the end of it with Sivan Garu, but we'll go ahead with the panel discussion. I'll join the panel now. Sure.
So there's already a lot of discussion about deep tech. And with my background in artificial intelligence, machine learning, I got my exposure at Facebook when Facebook was setting up their first office in Hyderabad. I was the first hire for the platform team. And I got to work with some of the Stanford grads who came down for Rohan Murthy's wedding. They were his batchmate. And they introduced me to machine learning. And I realized the kind of impact it can have and the problems we started to solve at Facebook with that. And with now, I'm talking about 2010. And now we look back in these 14-year span, things have changed phenomenally. I mean, now we talk about machine learning, AI. The biggest change that has come, and it has normalized now because of the compute. The compute was not available earlier. The kind of possibilities with the ecosystem that has opened up, that's huge. It's just because of the visionary leadership that we had in United Andhra earlier, and the kind of possibilities were created that Facebook kind of company actually chose Hyderabad over any other city. So now getting started with the discussion, I know everyone has described deep tech in a certain way, just to make it a little easy for everyone's understanding. Generally, deep tech is anything which is connected to a little detailed, deeper research. It's not only AI and ML as our visionary leader talked about it. There is quantum computing that you're going to hear. There is more to do with cybersecurity that you're going to hear about. There is dimension of IoT. So while you do deeper research into anything and solve real problems, that is actually deep tech. And that's where now AI, ML is going to thrive. And that's one of the most demand technology. So starting with you, Mr. Rajiv, I know that if I have to draw a parallel from the days when people have to go into the queues, buy insurance policy, and worry about whether the agent is recommending something right or not, the days when internet was coming, to today, it's a kind of similar scenario when a disruption was done by Policy Bazaar and the aggregation system was brought online. And today, now we have a similar scenario where there is AI coming out. As a leader in that space of disruption of technology, what are your thoughts on deep tech?
Thank you, Sridhar. Honorable Chief Minister, Honorable Ministers and friends from the industry and guests from Andhra Pradesh and the other states. I represent PB Fintech Limited that runs Policy Bazaar and Paisa Bazaar. And you are absolutely right, Sridhar. When I bought my first policy way back in 1990, when I started my career as a 21-year-old, an agent came and sold a policy to me, and I bought that policy thinking that I'll save some tax. I had no idea why we buy insurance, and I got that policy after 3 months, And the way insurance has been defined today in the country, Policy Bazaar started in 2008 with a simple comparison of different insurance plans available in the country for people to check before they decide to buy a policy, and that was done through technology. So we run a digital platform for selling insurance policies. From there to 2024, as we speak, we write about 16 to 18,000 crores of premium every year, and we spend about 400 crores on visibility on TV ads for people to know why they should buy insurance. Because nobody gets up early in the morning deciding to go and buy an insurance. We have to go and actually tell people why they should buy insurance. Now, having spoken about this, let me give you a background. I'll cover 3 challenges which this country has. Maybe I'm diverging a little bit. One biggest challenge which I see as an organization is how do we promote financial literacy in this country across nook and corner of every village and taluka. I think that's the biggest challenge we have. While Jan Dhan Yojana has certainly helped people to have bank accounts, but even today people struggle understanding how and where they should borrow the loan from, what is the requirement of a health insurance, why is insurance important. So a lot of financial literacy areas will have to be addressed, and that can only be done through deep tech and AI and technology. I can tell you one small example, paucity of time here, but we have set up, human representatives in about 98% of India's PIN codes who use technology platforms like what we provide to deliver knowledge in the local lingual. So where people sit in the talukas and villages, advising and teaching people on how you should, take a loan or how you should take an insurance. Second biggest challenge, while the Honorable Chief Minister spoke about India's population, we are very proud to have a young population today, right? But 10 to 12% of our population today are senior citizens. 2047, when we are all dreaming to have insurance for all, this number will spike to 30% or 35%. Now imagine 60% of these senior citizens do not have any income support system. In spite of the joint family system we are all proud of. There is no health insurance and there is no support system. So today's 40-year-olds are tomorrow's 60-year-olds. Now, this is the real missing middle. In my opinion, it is important to use technology to reach to every taluka and village and promote, people to buy a health insurance plan or a pension plan for themselves that will protect them for the future, number one. Number two, I think we spoke about skilled manpower in this country. Now, if the country has to grow, I think rightly said, the skilled manpower is going to come from tier 2 and tier 3 cities. Today, the biggest challenge is on one side, there is a loud noise about unemployment. On the other side, the industry is crying for skilled manpower. Whether it is hospitalization, whether it is insurance, whether it is banking, everywhere there is a need for skilled manpower. And most people who pass out from tier 2 colleges do not have a job right from the day they pass out. So I believe that the government, private, and educational institutions will have to work together using technology to create co-curriculum modules in these colleges in addition to their curriculum, so that when they pass out, 80% to 90% of them become employable. I think that is how we'll be able to create skilled manpower for the kind of growth we are looking at. So if 2047 means insurance for all, 2047 means pension for all, 2047 means a 30 trillion economy, and if the state of Andhra Pradesh has taken the lead way back in '84 to talk about technology, I think this is the place where we can begin to ensure that every taluka and village are adequately covered and protected in this country.
Great. So if I were to summarize, you're saying deep tech has to play a big role. AI will help build that kind of ecosystem where we can actually have more skilled resources and people actually contributing to all of the ecosystem. Great.
So I'll tell you, I'll take a hint from CM. He wanted one entrepreneur, one family. There is room for at least 10 policy bazaars and 10 health insurance companies who become unicorns in this country. Okay, that's the kind of scope which we have. If somebody can think about healthcare, this is the place to get in. We at PB FinTech are also setting up 1,000 hospitals over the next 10 years. And this is in tier 2, tier 3 cities. The whole idea is we need good healthcare system in this country. So I think clearly there is an opportunity for all of you, and elderly care is the next big business one should think of. 70 crore agar aged population hoga, there will be a requirement for elderly healthcare as well. So tremendous opportunities for the people who want to become entrepreneurs from this state. Please look at all these ideas and come forward. Companies like us are most willing to help, handhold, and also look at similar ideas to support them in future.
So moving on to you, Bala Garu. So I know how TCS has changed the whole IT paradigm. Like if you look at the last era of technology, that boom happened, the transformation that we are seeing in the country, and what actually I believe started extensively in Andhra Pradesh earlier. Taking cue from that and what we have just now discussed, there is another dimension. We know TCS in a certain way. Being Chief Innovation Officer, what's the dimension of entrepreneurship? What's the dimension on skilling the startups? And what would be the role of deep tech while we think about creating an ecosystem for startups? Because there is a conventional way people think about services company, which is transforming. And as an innovation officer, you have a perspective on it. We would love to hear that.
Love the question. First of all, I just want everyone to give a very standing ovation to the GFST team, please. This team has done some tremendous work. I believe we should all acknowledge that. Led by Tucker Garu.